Hey guys, so I am back redoing a video that I did a couple years ago, which is the Maleficent look. I wanted to use prosthetics, as you saw. I was quite frustrated with it. I used latex and it wasn't working. This is my first time trying it and I should have practiced, but I didn't. I'm picking latex out of my hair and you can see it throughout my hair, throughout the whole thing. So I'm a little annoyed by that, but you know, I wanted to go ahead and film this video because I thought I could still do it better than last time, and I personally think I did. So you guys let me know in the comments whether or not you think this is better than my last one, because my last one is honestly kind of laughable at this point. But anyway, so I just went through and did primer. I'll list all the products that I used below, but honestly, it's not super important that you use the exact same ones. You can literally do this with any type of just basic makeup you might have in your kind of collection. So I just went in with the primer, my TATCHA primer that I love, but you can use anything. And then I went in with a much lighter than needed, or my skin tone, because she is very pale in the movie. This is based off the Angelina Jolie, just like my last video. So I go in and I make myself super white. I know I'm white already, but I amped it up a little bit, and we went ghost white because she's, you know, she's very dead looking, but in a good way. So here, this isn't super important. You could actually skip this part. I was kind of playing it by ear and just kind of going. So I did this initially, but then I went back in later. So you can just skip this step if you want to, but this just kind of lets you see what you're going to do later. And also, if you hear anything in the background, the new mic I got is pretty fabulous. It's the Yeti Nano, and it picks up literally everything. So if you hear like dogs or cats or stuff in the background, I'm sorry. I tried to make it as quiet as possible. So then another important step, once you get all your base on, as far as, you know, lightening your skin or anything like that, you want to powder. I use the Urban Decay Velvetizer or Velveteer, whatever one that was. Forgot how much I hate that, because as you can see here with all the beautiful faces I'm making, I got it all up in my eye. You see how like powdery it is? It's great on pores, but shut your eyes and try not to get it in your lashes because it sucks. It dries out your eyes so bad. But for pores, it's quite amazing. I actually went back in eventually and used my Laura Mercier. Or no, I didn't use that. I used my Ben Nye setting powder, the white one. So here I'm going in with more of a precision brush. When you start drawing out these lines, you want to be very specific. I almost wish that well, not almost, I do wish I would have went in with a very specific line initially rather than starting with the shading. But that's only because of, you know, the after effect. It's easier to look back and then, you know, think of different ways. I tend to do my shading first and then go back in and add the details. But in this specific part, I would have rather not. So yeah, you can do it whichever way you want. That's just my preference and my opinion. If you're going to do this look, I think it would have been a little easier. Also, later on, I'll mention this again probably, but my shading could be a lot better. But honestly, I was so annoyed at this point, you guys. You don't understand. Like, I got up this day at like 8 a.m. This is a Saturday that I filmed this, last Saturday. And I spent from 8 a.m. until, what, 1 p.m. maybe? 2 p.m. attempting the latex thing. And I had already played with a couple different options up until that point and then just decided to go with that and see what happened, and it was terrible. Later I tried gelatin too, and that was better, but also quite terrible and time consuming. I even tried to do a face cast. Like, I put in time, guys. Like, the last week I've been trying to make this work. I was gonna just insert the prosthetics later if I couldn't get it right, but I never got it right. So I'm gonna eventually get it right, and then maybe I'll do this again next year. We'll just have like 3 different years of Maleficent looks, and each one just gets better and better. Here I'm going in with my flat top brush. This is the one I use for the detail. This is really great for those edges that I was talking about that are really important as far as changing your face shape and making it look realistic. Obviously, this is in really harsh lighting. Like I said in my last video, which I think was filmed in daylight, which was extra terrible. You're probably going to be going out at Halloween at night, but yeah, so it shouldn't be looking terrible, but my shading, honestly, I was so aggravated that I didn't give it enough time. I just was ready to get it over with and move on with my night. But yeah, so I went in and I do pay a lot of attention to details. You guys can't see it, but if you notice every once in a while my eyes looking downward, I have on my phone a huge close-up shots of her face throughout the movie that I took, because I watched the movie about 3 or 4 times in the days before I film this, just so I would have it perfect. It's not going to be perfect, obviously, but I want it as close as possible. So I do pay a lot of attention to those pictures and the shading, and I'm going in with this color. You can use any type of cool, slightly warm brown, and it'll work just fine. So as you notice, I'm going in with the lips. If you shade under the lips like that, it helps it look fuller. So it gives you the Angelina pout without having to overline like a mofo and be really obvious about it. So the shadowing on the eyes is really important. I really enjoy doing Angelina Jolie looks just because with my face shape, because it tends to be bigger than hers, it's easier to cut down. If you don't have certain face features of someone, it's harder to build up than it is to, you know, shadow down. So for me, it's easier to take my big round eyes and make them more cat-like like hers. So I really enjoyed doing this look. I've done her multiple times just in general, and I always enjoy it because, you know, who wouldn't? She has a gorgeous face. So I was really specific on the nose. You'll notice where I did the nose contour, I purposely made it crooked because she has a prosthetic on her nose as well that gives her a bump. And then the shadowing by the temple, and to make it more kind of ghastly, I guess. But with the eyes, that V shape that you can kind of see there with the highlight in the middle, that helps a lot to give it that cat eye. I do go in later with a bit of warm kind of puky brown to warm it up. But this is honestly just a lot of technique and art. I got the chin going on. It's just a lot of looking and shading and doing a little here and a little there and kind of figuring out. But you can kind of follow along and do the basics. I was really proud at how quick this video turned out. Mostly because I sped through like everything, because this was honestly a 45-minute video first. And then I sped everything up. So I use a white. I got this at Spirit Halloween. You can just use any type of white liner, but I added it in the middle to kind of get it that more almond-esque look. And now I'm going back in with more shading, more shading, more shading. This is now black, which I use just on the very, very edge, and I lightly drag it down, and then I blend the crap out of it because that's what gives us our edge. And then I'm going in the movie, if you pay attention to the close-up shots, especially when she's cursing Aurora, you'll notice that the makeup artist had those yellow spots right underneath the arches of her eyebrows. And when I first put this on in my head, I was thinking, oh God, this is terrible. Like, what makeup artist would do this? Like, I didn't get the artistry of it at first. But by the time I was done, it was all on, I was like, okay, I get it now. This is awesome. I love this. So this is where I'm going back in with a warm puky brown and kind of warming up everything to bring that yellow down so it doesn't look too out of place. Again, if you watch the movie and pause it and close up view it, you'll see all these tiny little details. So I'm just imitating. And then with her brows, like I said, if it's bigger, it's easier to make it smaller. Not so easy to make something small bigger or to appear bigger. So with my brows, I'm just kind of reshaping them and pushing them together closely because I've let my brows grow out and they're quite full. And so I'm just making them not full. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I'm sorry if I sound out of breath. I'm slightly sick, so talking is actually quite an effort, in case you're wondering why I'm breathing heavily. I'm not running around or anything. You'd hear it. I literally can't move without this thing catching it. So then I added just some super simple wispies. She never wears ridiculous eyelashes at any means, so I put those on, and then I used a red liner, a lip, and then the actual lip gloss that they used, the lip gloss from MAC, they used in the movie. As you can see, I accidentally got red on my chin and got kind of mad about it. But that's pretty much it. You add the horns and you got the whole thing, you get the outfit, and you're good to go. So let me know if you guys like this. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, the whole yada. It'll all be down below. Let me know what you think and if you like this better than my old video. And maybe go watch my old video and you can laugh at how ridiculously simple it is. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. And I will see you guys in my next video.